Hey everybody, welcome back to the My Bourbon Journey Whiskey Review channel. My name is Scott. If you're new to this channel and you're looking for reviews of different whiskeys, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. Also make sure to hit the bell notification. That's going to alert you to when I'm doing new uploads, live streams, things along those lines. So today from Old Humble Distilling Company out of Humble, Texas, we've got their Old Humble Straight Whiskey and the Old Humble Straight Whiskey Reserve. So we've got two different expressions, and I'll kind of do a little explanation on both of those here in a second. First is going to be just the standard straight whiskey. Mash bill on this is going to be 91% corn and 9% malted barley, 90 proof or 45% ABV. It is non-age stated. However, this is being aged for 5 years in used bourbon barrels. So we'll get into the reserve here in just a second, but typically what I try to do with most or all of my reviews is we'll go through the appearance, we'll nose it, we'll taste it, and then we'll kind of get into the finished part of it and then go over any real general information regarding the product or the channel itself. So, all right, so let's go ahead and we'll kind of get into the appearance. So as you can see, this is kind of a nice, I mean, it's very light, like a light honey or a kind of like a green tea type of color to it. So, and again, it's aged in used bourbon barrels, similar to what Scotch does. So it's not going to pull out a ton of color. However, you know, it being from Texas, generally, if there's going to be anywhere that's going to pull out any extra color in a used barrel, it will be Texas, just based on the heat. So again, yeah, kind of a green tea type of color to that. So, all right, let's get into the nose. So right away, with it being a really high corn base whiskey, you get that really nice kind of sweet corn presence to it right away. Kind of almost like a candy sweetness to that. Even a bit of like corn on the cob. If you've smelled like what the cob is like afterwards, you get kind of more of that corn cob type of presence. Nice like underlying cinnamon note to it. Definitely some of those like kind of vanilla characters to it as well. But yeah, really nice, kind of like you'd expect for a really high corn based whiskey. Nice kind of sweet corn type of nose to it. So let's get into the taste. Cheers. So right away, as you would expect, very sweet, very corn sweetness. Little bit of heat right up front. Little bit thin. But again, you know, very corn dominant. There's just that corn sweetness that you would expect from a corn whiskey, essentially. Again, some underlying notes of cinnamon that are there. Some of the vanilla notes are there with this one. Not an overly long finish. Again, not something you'd expect there to be. But again, nice kind of just corn sweetness to that. If you've had a standard type of like kind of a corn whiskey, this has that kind of that profile, similar to kind of like a mellow corn. If I was going to kind of compare it to something that's a high corn based whiskey, that's kind of the profile that it's given. Again, finish wise, you know, it's probably on that, you know, short side. You know, not a lot there. So why don't we kind of go over to the Old Humble. This is going to be the same identical mash bill. However, the difference here is for an additional 6 to 8 weeks, it's aged in new charred oak barrels. So it's going to bring out a little bit more, hopefully some color, a little bit more on the nose and as well as the palate. So as you can see, color-wise, this is probably a step up color-wise. And here's where the new barrel influence is kind of coming into play. As you can see, that extra aging in a new charred oak barrel is giving a little extra, you know, color to that. So, and I'm guessing that these are, I don't know if this is a non-chill filtered product or not, but they are coating the glass fairly well, to be honest. So, All right, let's get into the nose on this. So I would say right away, very similar to the nose on this, where it's very kind of corn dominant, that sweet corn dominance, the vanillas. This, you're starting to pick up a slight bit more of the new charred oak that's kind of starting to come out a little bit in that. So this should also help probably on the palate once we get to that point to maybe add a little extra flavor as well. You'd expect it to, with that kind of direct contact. You know, it being again aged 5 years in new bourbon or in ex-bourbon barrels, and then aged an additional 6 to 8 weeks in a new charred oak barrel. So, all right, let's get into the taste on this. Cheers. So the one thing I would say right away that I noticed a vast difference on is the mouthfeel. This is much more velvety, creamy, more mouth coating, and I don't know if it's just that extra 6 to 8 weeks of it being aged longer in new charred barrels, but it's a huge difference in terms of just the overall mouthfeel. From the standard whiskey. The reserve is just, there's little more depth to it. And again, we're still talking 91% corn and 9% malted barley, even on the reserve. Everything remains the same. Again, the only difference on this is just the extra age in the new charred oak barrel. So. Much different, much more creamy, that vanilla, even a bit of like an apple pie type of note to that. Cinnamon, again, vanilla, little more oak on this one. Again, 90 proof, so you're not getting a ton of heat. There's a little bit there. Finish, I'd say, is probably still on the shorter side for the most part, but both really good for what they are. You know, two really nice corn whiskeys. Again, same mash bill. And again, just to kind of reiterate a little bit on what both of them are, this is their standard Old Humble Distilling straight whiskey, 91% corn, 9% malted barley, 90 proof. This is identical. The only thing that's different is that this is then added or aged an additional 6 to 8 weeks in a new charred oak barrel. So both really nice whiskeys. It'd be interesting to see what they could do with these, like in cocktails, with it being a high corn whiskey. But, you know, very interesting nonetheless. Again, more of the Texas whiskey, really enjoying what the state of Texas is doing nowadays with whiskeys. You know, that heat that they have there really does some interesting things to whiskeys in these barrels. So hopefully everybody will go check out Old Humble Distilling. I'll leave some information linked in the description below how you can get in contact with the distillery if you'd like. So in addition to that, you know, like, subscribe, make sure you hit the bell notification as well. That's going to again let you know when I'm doing new uploads, live streams, things like that. Leave comments. Let me know if this is something that you've tried. I'm always interested to hear people's thoughts on particular whiskeys, and hopefully you'll leave some comments there. So, but I'd like to say thank you again for stopping by, checking out the video. Hopefully we'll see you again. And like I say, it's about the journey and not the destination. Cheers.